There is no correlation between how much money someone makes and their level of happiness. I have friends who make $47,000 a year and are the happiest people I know. And I know tons of people who I grew up with in the Silicon Valley boom who have hundreds of millions of dollars in their bank account and are as miserable and as lonely and as broken as you'll ever see.
Do you ever daydream about winning the lottery? It just costs a small amount and involves a minor risk with the potential for a large payout. But will it make you happy? Will it provide you with enduring happiness? Will all of your problems eventually fade away? Today, we'll explore the economics of happiness while deciding if money can truly buy happiness. In recent years, as researchers have begun to acknowledge the value of the subjective assessment of happiness as a desirable and useful outcome that is strongly connected with other major outcomes, such as health and productivity. Economics places a strong emphasis on how certain financial features impact our well-being. For example, does employment, among other metrics, lead to improved health and a longer lifespan? Do citizens of wealthy countries enjoy access to better healthcare and longer lifespans? Happiness in general is a psychological state of being that is often explored and characterized by using psychological methods. Despite the fact that being happy is a desirable goal, people continue to make actions that keep them from becoming happier. Why, for example, do we prefer to work more if it does not make us happier? Why are we dissatisfied even when our basic requirements are met? It is considered that the relationship between happiness, our subjective well-being, and money is positive. More money brings more happiness. On the other hand, the relationship between money and happiness is paradoxical. More money doesn't guarantee happiness. Low income levels, in particular, are associated with unhappiness. Our pleasure is first affected by absolute amounts of income. Knowing where we stand in terms of wealth and material possessions in comparison to others increases our happiness. Most of us decide to work more hours or hold down numerous jobs in order to increase our income. But if earning more money doesn't make us happier, what's the point? What makes us seem to believe that having more money will make us happier? The link between economics and happiness first emerged in the early 1970s. Brickman and Campbell originally contended that traditional consequences of a successful life, such as money or income, had little effect on individual happiness. Easterlin explained on these findings, while wealthier people in the same country tend to be happier than poor people, average happiness levels within a country stayed constant even as the country's overall wealth increased. There is some evidence that wealthier countries are happier than others, but only when wealthy people are compared to poor people. Happiness does not increase over a specific income level. Surprisingly, people seem to agree on the amount of money required to make them happy. Happiness, for example, can be used interchangeably with subjective wellness and can refer to a variety of factors, including life satisfaction and financial fulfillment. It appears contradictory that wealthy nations are not generally happier than poorer ones. So, what can be done to boost happiness? Wealthier people have better access to healthcare, education, and employment, which leads to greater life satisfaction. Increasing happiness through better quality of life impacts poor households the most. Access to vital services increases the quality of life, which in turn improves measures of well-being. Most people acquire riches through their job. Nevertheless, it is not only wealth that increases happiness. Employment has a significant relationship with happiness. According to the World Happiness Report, unemployment surged during the COVID-19 epidemic, and a significant drop followed this in happiness and optimism. The pandemic also altered our perceptions of certain parts of our lives, such as the relationship between income and happiness. After all, what's the use of having money if you can't spend it? Wealthier states smile more, but is it real? If we took a snapshot of happiness and wealth in a country, we would find that richer countries have happier populations than poorer ones. According to the 2021 World Happiness Report, Finland, Iceland, Denmark, Sweden, and the Netherlands are the top 5 happiest countries. all of which are also wealthy. In contrast, the most unhappy countries are those that are emerging markets or have a lower GDP, such as Zimbabwe, Tanzania, and India. Poorer countries are most frequently accompanied by additional problems, such as a higher unemployment rate, increased crime, and worse political stability. Therefore, based on the cross-sectional data, it would seem that a nation's wealth and happiness levels are related. On the other hand, there is no correlation between happiness and GDP over a longer time frame. That is, while a nation gets richer, the subjective well-being of its citizens does not rise. A happiness-income dilemma exists in this situation. Extensive research looked into whether a sudden financial windfall was associated with an increase in happiness. The results were conflicting. Money can sometimes improve your physical and mental health, as well as your overall sense of life happiness. However, neither this happy bump's duration nor its certainty is known. Take the case of lottery winners. These folks win big quantities of money, usually more than a wage raise that significantly impacts their life. Despite this, research has consistently shown that while lottery winners have better immediate short-term happiness, they do not have higher long-term happiness. The old saying, money can't buy happiness, may need to be changed. According to a recent study on the relationship between wealth and well-being, most people's levels of happiness rise as their income levels do. Previous studies claimed that once people make about $75,000 a year, their happiness decreases. However, the latest study from the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences reveals that the majority of people's emotional well-being continues to climb as income rises, including those who make up to $500,000 a year. However, the researchers discovered that there is a smaller group of people for whom increasing wealth makes little effect. For this unhappy group, which accounts for around 15% of the population, the link between happiness and wealth differs, with additional money failing to boost their well-being once they reach $100,000 in yearly earnings. Have there ever been situations where having money made you happier? It is obvious that money can buy a certain level of happiness, but money is not the only factor in determining someone's happiness levels. While financial stability and access to resources can surely contribute to happiness, it is crucial to recognize that true happiness comes from many sources, including personal relationships, a feeling of purpose, and inner contentment. Prioritizing other significant parts of life that improve general well-being is critical because relying entirely on money to achieve happiness might result in disappointment and discontent. So that's all for today's video. We'll be back with more interesting ones in the coming times.